Hi, I'm Norman A. Hood, financial advisor and host of the Exit Plan Show. I interview America's top advisors, like today's guest, Bryan Graiff of Brown Smith Wallace in St. Louis, Missouri. We interview America's top advisors to help business owners enjoy more personal freedom, grow their companies faster, and transition ownership seamlessly when the time comes. Welcome to the Exit Plan Show, Bryan. Nice to have you.
Glad to be here, Norm.
So we're going to start out. Could you tell our audience a little bit about your education and then your career path up until now?
Sure. I grew up in a small town in Midwestern Illinois. Went to school at the University of Illinois. I got my MBA from Southern Illinois University, and I started my career at Arthur Andersen here in St. Louis, Missouri. I worked there for about 6 years doing audit and transaction work.
Okay.
I left to go be the corporate controller of a privately owned company called LMI Aerospace that went through an initial public offering back in 1998.
Okay.
I was a corporate controller at 28 years old. Spent 2 years in the accounting department, running the accounting department for an SEC company, as we were a small private or public company. And then spent 2 years, I got promoted to be a director of operations. I worked with lean manufacturing out on the shop floor, learning all about operating manufacturing company for aerospace industry. I left though to be the corporate controller of a Monsanto legacy company, and it was a much larger company, about $700 million in sales. We went through a lot of restructuring while I was there, shutting down plants and preparing it for a sale process, which I was very intricately involved working with the board there to take it through a sale process and sell it to Israel Chemical Company. I was at Israel Chemical Company, and I got recruited away to be the chief financial officer, the first chief financial officer for a family-owned business here in town called Wayland Security. Wayland Security was a family-owned business that was about $40 million. They did security guard businesses across the country, and we grew that company to over $120 million in sales. Before I got lured away to go to a private equity firm. So a private equity firm had bought a company here in town called Life Uniform. I was brought in to be the chief financial officer and the chief operating officer. I was there for about 5 years. We did 10 acquisitions while I was there. We opened up new stores. We had over 210 stores. When I got promoted to then take the company through a sale process, and we sold the company, and then I ended up going into public accounting to use my experience as a consultant with Brown Smith Wallace, where I'm in charge of the transaction advisory and litigation support practice. And what we do is we help companies prepare for a sale process or to acquire another business. So I work on both sides of the fence, and I think I bring that value of having worked on the other side of the desk as well.
Yeah, good.
It's a long story.
Well, that's all right. It's a good story, though.
Yeah, I've done a lot in a short amount of time.
So we just met. I was introduced to you by someone here in St. Louis who spoke very highly of you. But how would the people that know you the best, like your friends, how would they describe you?
I would say very energetic, results focused, but down to earth and easy to talk to and get along with.
Okay. And Brown Smith Wallace, can you explain their practice?
Yeah, Brown Smith Wallace is the 102nd ranked public accounting firm in the country. We're a full service public accounting firm. We provide audit, tax, and advisory services. I would say we're large enough to do work for public companies, but we're not so large that we can't do work for the small size company. We actually have a small business practice that supports companies from $0 to $20 million, and our regular practice can support companies from $10 million to billions of dollars.
Okay. So is that do you think that's what differentiates you from some of the other firms, or is there something else that makes you different? With
my practice, helping companies go through a sale or helping a company buy another company, there's lots of times the information, the quality of the financial information is suspect, and we can provide tax planning services, estate planning services. We can help clean up the financial statements and prepare the company for a sale. So, and we're independent. So we bring a lot more to the table because we can provide all the accounting and advisory support. We can analyze the systems. We can provide cybersecurity analysis. We can review the insurance contracts with the company. So we do bring a lot more to the table because we're a large enough company, but yet we're still a regional, locally owned, St. Louis-based public accounting firm.
Okay. Is there anything in particular you like the best about what you do there? Is there any one area that you really like to focus on more than another?
The thing that really excites me the most about being at Brown Smith Wallace is I'm in a position that I get to use all my past experience to help clients solve problems and bring value.
Okay. And I know you said your friends describe you as energetic.
Yeah.
So where's the energy come from? You've done a lot.
I don't know. I've been hard driven my whole life. I actually was a competitive golfer in college. I've competed in golf my whole life, so I think there's that competitive spirit inside of me. But yet that small Midwestern down to earth person is still here, and I'm just trying to stay as humble as I can as I go through this.
Okay, great. Last question. We help business owners in a few different ways with the Exit Plan Show. Either help them enjoy a little more personal freedom, in other words, do something besides just their business, because that's something they say is important sometimes. Grow their company a little faster, transition the ownership seamlessly to either the next generation or sell to a third party, or maybe transition to a key employee group. And then more recently, we've gotten more involved in helping owners redefine their purpose, because a lot of times their identity is tied up in their company all their life, and now all of a sudden they're ready to sell or move on, and they have a hard time deciding now what's next. If you were to give them one tip in any of those areas, what would it be?
Well, in the preparation to sell, I would definitely recommend that they start planning early.
Okay.
And they start taking into account what do they want to do after the sale, and prepare for that sooner rather than later. And there's so many things to think about from an estate planning standpoint, and preparing their estate and their employee base and their customers for that life after they move on. Okay. So the sooner they start planning, the better.
Great advice. Okay. Thanks again for joining us.
Thank you.
That was Bryan Graiff. He's with Brown Smith Wallace in St. Louis, Missouri. For more information about Bryan and his firm, please check out the show notes for this episode on our website.